taken 8 roads to Mexico.
Mexico 86 beckons. History for Northern Ireland. It's McElroy, Bracewell, Lineker's there, Lineker, and then comes Jennings with one hand. He's done it once again. McDonnell's hurt, and Jennings is in possession. 5 seconds of normal time to go. And it's all over. No injury time, and Northern Ireland have done it. Billy Bingham dances with joy. Pat Jennings is the calmest man on the field. The Northern Ireland fans celebrate. Northern Ireland have done it.
On an all too rare occasion, Pat Jennings lets the mask slip and reveals his emotions. Once again, Northern Ireland defy logic and qualify for the World Cup finals. A team whose weakness is their strength. Having so few players produces a rather special family. At 9 o'clock on November the 16th, 1985, a journey along 8 roads is complete. 8 roads that led to Mexico.
Mexico, you're gonna be so much to see in Mexico. Take it from me, yeah, you're gonna see the great show. Underneath the sun in Mexico.
It had all begun a year and a half earlier. In marked contrast to the scenes at Wembley, the players travelled to Finland, flying to Helsinki, and then a long, long trip to dusty Pori. It's the end of a long British season. People are tired. They should be lying on a beach.
And there we are, sitting in this sleepy town, thinking, well, things are going to be fine here. It's only Finland, and even though it's a nice bright day, it's a nice sunny day, we can do them. As it turns out, we were poor, and they were possibly, if that's possible, they were even worse.
It was out of season. We had to go about 300 miles from Helsinki by bus to Pori. We had finished the British Championship that year and won it. So there was an anticlimactic situation in an out-of-season match, and there was no atmosphere whatsoever in that game. So I felt I had no real control over what was happening.
To be knocked by a non-entity of a nation, I thought, well, where do we go from here?
To a game against Romania, and the new North Stand is open for the first time. Martin O'Neill is worried that the loss of the old stand will mean less noise to strike fear into the hearts of visitors. But it's a symbol of the Irish Football Association's success in world football, and the talented Romanians are the first to see if O'Neill is right or wrong. Northern Ireland's players believe Romania is the best team in their group, but the team manager thinks not.
Well, I wouldn't say they're the best team in the group. They certainly had very talented players. But I never recognized them as a team, strange as it may seem, because I'd watched Romania in the European Championships in France, and I'd followed them around because I knew we were drawn against them. And I saw them argue with the bench, continually arguing with the bench. So I thought, there's not a good team spirit within that team if things go wrong. And I said to the players, they've come out of a European Championship not too well. It'll be anticlimactical for them. And then we'll catch them cold at Windsor Park. Not literally cold, but coming out of that championship not doing so well, psychologically down a little bit. And I said, we must take advantage of that.
Jimmy Nicholl with the throw, taking a 1-2 from Armstrong. 3 men in the middle for Northern Ireland. Just too long for Whiteside. Oh, but a terrible mistake by the Romanians. An own goal by Iorgulescu gives Northern Ireland the lead. Slick passing. And a penetrating ball, and Jennings will have to be quick here. It falls to Hadji. The 20-year-old scores. Yorgi Hadji. The dummy by O'Neill. Nicholl's cross for Hamilton. And now Donachie. And the flag stayed down. A great chance, and Whiteside makes no mistake.
"2-1. It's a vital goal, but there's a feeling it won't be enough. We need a third goal. That would be enough. Who ever heard of visitors scoring 3 at Windsor Park in recent times?
There's about 20 minutes left, I think, in the game, and Stewart picks the ball up on the left-hand side and gets this crossover. About 3 people go to head the ball. Jerry claims that he's headed it down to me, and I'm coming in to follow it in. I don't know whether my legs are going to carry me there or not, but this ball suddenly appears in front of me, and honestly, the proverbial footballer's answer, I hit it. And as it turns out, it was a smashing goal, because it was like a half volley, and I looked up and saw the net bulging, and I thought, what a feeling, what a feeling.
Now for the Finns. A non-entity, O'Neill had said, but Pat Jennings isn't so sure.
I was very impressed with the Finland team, and then of course they give us a very, very hard game here in Belfast. We finish up scraping through 2-1 at the end of the night. So again, they were a much better team than people led us to believe. I suppose maybe we shouldn't fall for it anyway at that stage now, because there's no easy games in football.
Ikalainen. And now Lipanen. Plenty forward for Finland. Ball for Turunen. 3 in the middle, they're queuing up here. And Lipanen. And Finland take the lead. Signals from Stewart, number 4, John O'Neill. And John O'Neill with the header, and what a good finish by the centre-back.
1-1. And from a free kick, drama. A forward goes tumbling in the box. No one can remember when Northern Ireland last had a penalty. Armstrong can equal a record, and he wants the ball.
Norman was going to take the penalty kick, and all of a sudden Jerry snatched the ball and just strode up the penalty as quick as you can and put the ball in the net. But it's a good job actually he scored, because I think Billy, I looked around and Billy was out of the bench.
I don't think he'd be nominated to take it, but I think it was Norman who had been nominated to take that penalty. But Jerry volunteered to take it. I didn't think Norman felt all that confident, so Jerry took it, and I'm sure he was after the record, but I was pleased he put it in.
When it came about to take the penalty kick, the call came from the bench from Billy Bingham. He was saying, tell Norman to take the penalty kick. So Norman then was going to be prepared to step forward and take it. But Sammy had said to me, well, look, if you're happy to take it, go ahead and take it. So there was a little bit of indecision about who should take it, but in the end I felt confident that I could go up and put the ball in the net, which was the most important thing at the time. So I did.
I don't care who was captain, who was the manager, it wouldn't have mattered. No one was taking the ball of Armstrong that night. And I remember Norman looking back, well, I'll be taking the penalty. No, Jerry takes the penalty. Jerry had the ball onto the arm, up there, plunks it down and sticks it in. It didn't matter, it was a goal for us. It was only afterwards we realised, well, God, that, I mean, I wouldn't have taken the penalty. Let me put it this way, I wouldn't have taken the penalty for Distillery had we been in that position, so I certainly wouldn't have taken it there. And I think it took a bit of guts to do it, and he stuck it in, We'd have killed him, of course, if he'd have missed it.
Now it's a match everyone says we must win. England, the old enemy, are in Belfast, and not a ticket can be had for weeks. The Irish have their first important change. Martin O'Neill is back at home in Nottingham, and he's too badly injured to play.
I'd had my injury about early part of that particular month of February, and I was in crutches and had been in crutches then since the injury. And I never forget, my father said, why don't you come down to our house and watch the game? And he didn't live too far away. And my sister was to collect me in her car. And the distance that we had to travel was only about 1.5 miles. So anyway, I put the crutches in. 7:25 or whatever time, 5 minutes before kick-off, she comes and arrives for me. And so we put the crutches. You wouldn't believe it. The car broke down. And I'm hobbling like mad. I'm now between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. I'm almost halfway between the two spots. What do I do? Car broken down, finished. So I now hobble. I thought, shall I go up the hill to my house or go down the hill? Decide I'll take down the hill to my father's. So I'll get in and miss the first 20 minutes of the game. And we've sat down. The sweat is lashing off me. I've got the crutches down. It's killing me. Sit in, ask, what's the score? Still 0 each in the game. And no sooner had I just sat in than John Motson had turned around and said, and Martin O'Neill, who the Ireland captain, who'll be watching this in England because he's not over here, he'll be sitting with his feet up watching this game, and we send all our best wishes to. I couldn't believe I just got in this, which is quite incredible, really.
On the field, Northern Ireland's luck is just as bad as Martin's. Two British teams are playing in British fashion, but the German referee is managing the game in a style for continentals. The result hinges on two incidents.
Stewart. Donaghy's going down the left. Into a lot of space there. There are three waiting in the centre. And Quinn hit the bar. Jimmy Quinn of Blackburn Rovers was so close.
Well, it's not that often I cross the ball with my left foot, so I was disappointed to see the ball not go in. It was a great header from Jimmy, and I don't think Peter Shilton had any chance of saving it.
I think I was just at the side of Mal when he did cross, and actually when it come off Jimmy's head, I thought it was a cert goal, because everything was, he timed everything great. Powerful header. Peter Shilton didn't know anything about it, and it rattled against the bar. And then you begin to think, is this going to be your night?
During the course of the game, I thought, we can win this. We've had most of the possession. We've had the header when Quinn's headed it against the bar, and the minute that ball struck the bar and didn't go in, I thought, I've turned immediately to my father and brother and said, I'll settle for the draw now.
10 minutes from time, all is lost.
Haitley, Barnes, Haitley again, and he's made a chance here, has Haitley, and he's scored. A really good finish by the player who is proving so effective in Italy and proves effective there for England.
In all the years I've played against England, that was the one night where we deserved to win. And the sneak that Mark Haitley, I think he had 2 kicks, and one of them he put the ball in the net, and we were absolutely devastated after the game.
And I think we didn't get out of it what we deserved, because they got a rather fortuitous goal. And I think most of the public realised that it was a bad deal for us, really.
But life must go on. And aren't there still 8 points to be contested? A home game against Turkey is Norman Whiteside's match.
Referee acknowledging from his linesman that the 45 minutes are indeed up. McClelland looking for Whiteside. Yes, Whiteside scores. 45 minutes up on the watch as Norman Whiteside scores his 5th goal for Northern Ireland. Whiteside. Quinn. Quinn's done well. Rotherston's arriving. Jimmy Nichols kept this in. It's Whiteside. Whiteside gets his 2nd of the evening.
Things are perking up. Maybe we're wrong in thinking the England match was vital. But the rest of the games are away. No Windsor Roar, no Spion Cop to worry the visiting goalkeeper. But Billy Bingham has already laid plans. Away games are all about confidence and organisation.
Realising we had 3 away fixtures, I asked the president of the Irish FA, Harry Kevin, to try and fix up a match with Spain away from home, because I wanted then to set up what I would call a defensive strategy to overcome these 3 very difficult matches away from home. And I realised we had to pull in our horns and get at least 3 points from those 3 games. That was my target. And I felt my scenario went wrong, because I expected England to beat Romania in England, which they didn't. So they upset the whole scenario. But the Mallorca match against Spain was very, very important, because we came out of that game, if you recall, with a draw, 0-0. And the morale of the players was high, because Spain had beaten Scotland and Wales, and yet they hadn't beaten us. So I said, look, we've set it up well. It's tight, it's difficult. We can make it equally difficult for the other teams in our group. And if we get any chances at all, let's take them.
Izmir on the coast of Turkey has more of a holiday look than that for football. But back home, people are confident. They say we'll win. Turkish attacks are few.
We were pushing forward and taking the game to the Turks, which is not what we're used to, not away from home anyway. And it was a strange situation. It wasn't a very good game, and there was very few chances. One of the chances fell to me in the first half after about 20 minutes. and I managed to get a glancing header to the ball, which the goalkeeper saved. I took a bit of stick from the press the next day because they thought I should have scored. But I would ask them to try and put the ball in the net from the position I was in. Suddenly, everybody's disappointed, and we took quite a bit of stick from the press because we've only drawn 0-0. But that was away from home. That was a draw away from home, which I remember 4 or 5 years ago would have been looked upon as a victory. But I suppose it's a sign of the times and the success that Northern Ireland had over the years, that suddenly people are taking it for granted that you would brush Turkey aside.
The Romanians' point against England is a classic example of not relying on others to do a job for you.
Here's Hadji. First time he's really been in possession. Oh, it's not a bad try! And it came back off the crossbar. Right. A particularly good header. Koresh. Oh! Haitley is number 9, Waddle number 11, Lineker number 10. Robson has joined them. Waddle is onside! 1-0! Oh, that's lovely! Did he take it with his hand? Shilton! It's one apiece! Shilton obviously thought that he used his hand.
The Irish players still feel they're right. Romania is the best side, and they have to go there and not lose. But the Irish manager is plotting.
I realised Romania was going to be the crunch one, the most difficult one, because they come back after a draw with England at Wembley. So the euphoria was quite high, Romania. They thought they were going to take us. They had a chap who followed me all around, and in all the plays we were making, we were playing with 4 forwards, because with an interpreter who was really a spy, and he was taking all the notes about how I was setting it up, and I was giving him some information that was wrong. And I said to Norman White, I said, of course, he said, I was playing up front with Quinn. I says, yes, for 1 minute. And I says, you're going to go back into midfield. So we flooded the whole midfield, and we played with 2 wingers and a centre forward. And of course, they had 3 men marking our centre forward. And really, for half an hour, they didn't sort of way tumble to this. And we took advantage in that first half hour. In fact, we had 3 good chances and only scored 1.
On the field, another important change. John McClellan's leg is in plaster now. As the team travels east, he travels west to summarise the game for television in Belfast.
Coming over on the day of the game, there wasn't any emotion at all, because it's strange. You were outside it, and there's nothing you could do. So you just travel over and think, well, there's nothing I can do. So you just think, no, as I said, they can't do it, really. And knowing we had to have a win. And it was very, very much on the outside. And it was a very strange feeling, because I think I was told I'd played 27 or 28 games in a row before that. And sitting in the studio, even watching the game, I didn't have any emotion at all.
In Bucharest, Bingham relegates Jerry Armstrong to the bench. He accepts it philosophically, but feels too many remember the header in Ishmir. On the field, a rising new star and an elder statesman help make the game unforgettable.
Klein. Ungariano well forward also. And Penny, good turn. McElroy. Steve McCreary starting a match. Unusual for him. That's a good ball by Whiteside. This is Whiteside, onside. Klein. McDonnell up early. The ball's broken for Hadji. Korash is in the centre. Hadji wants it himself. And a good save by Jennings at his near post. That's the danger of the 20-year-old Georgi Hadji. Corash fighting at the near post. Ball in his corner. Jennings is going. Missed it too, and McDonnell made a good interception. Handy for Quinn. Gorgalescu, tall, rising above him. Now it's Rednick. Played a good one too. Matej right the way through it again. Jennings with a great save on his line. Sammy McElroy. Whiteside's the far side, signalling to McElroy. It's a good run by McElroy. Quinn's onside. If he can hold it and turn it, and he has done it. Jimmy Quinn has given Northern Ireland the lead with 28 minutes gone. Again, Hadji. Support for the Jovan. McDonnell with a great header, that was very important. Appeals against Rednick. Got away with it, and again McDonnell was in. Starting the second half the way he played right through the first half. Great defence. Alan McDonnell making his debut. For half an hour of the match to go. Corner perhaps aiming for a volley. In the end, a half volley, and Jimmy Nicol off the line from Matej. Ball not clear yet. Bologna and Hadji, little chip this time, and again McDonnell with a fine header. And what a great save by Jennings. Joe Gow this time hitting the shot. Pat Jennings checking his position again and again. A clear header and a great save again by Jennings. Rednick this time.
Very strange situation actually, because I played regularly for the Northern Ireland team for about 5 or 6 years, maybe 7 years. And suddenly I was starting this crucial World Cup game, looking at it from a different position from the bench. I really got involved in the game without actually being on the field, because the tension on the bench was just as great as it was for the players, because we were actually playing the game with them. Billy Bingham was up and down like a yo-yo.
The referee wouldn't give me time to take my time kicking the ball out. He kept shouting, "Jennings, play the ball, I'm going to book you." So this was another problem for me. Now all of a sudden I was getting the ball, we had nobody up front to hit, and I was more or less having to kick the ball just as far as I could into areas that was giving us some sort of a chance to push out.
In front of Pat, McDonnell plays as if he'd been there for years.
He talks to you constantly throughout the game. He's fantastic. He coaches you and he G's you up, and he gives you advice where to go and this and that. It's fantastic playing in front of a guy of his standard.
John O'Neill hardly knows McDonnell, let alone be his partner in defence.
To be honest, Alan's a type of lad. He's very forward going, and I think that helped him get through it. Obviously the nerves were one thing that he would have to overcome, but I just kept talking to him like I do to any centre half, and when you're playing in the middle with somebody, you got to keep talking, or you can make things difficult for you. I suppose maybe after 10 or 15 minutes he settled down. The fact that we were under so much pressure, I think, probably made it easier for him, because he didn't have much time to think about it, and he just went out and played a natural game.
I've spent a career being a bag of nerves in matches. Really, I've seen top class players going into the toilet and being sick before matches, and McDonnell gets on, wears a pair of boots and thinks, well, it could be a kick around down at home farm or home park or something like that. It's amazing, yes. I haven't had the privilege of playing with him yet. I would love to see that. I'd like to see if he really is nervous or if he bleeds its red blood. To me, Romania was one of the great results of our history, and make no mistake about that. And in fact, I remember doing a little bit of commentating for the match in between screams, and I thought, we've actually had the 3 best chances of the first half, and you felt maybe the second one would seal the game. Maybe they would lose heart. I honestly felt after that England wasn't going to be a problem, because we'd done the hard work. Well, God wasn't going to turn around and say, well, you've done this now, I'm going to take it away from you.
The day of reckoning arrives within a month. It's England at Wembley, and we must win a point to qualify. No Northern Ireland player has ever known such tension. Billy Bingham takes aspirin before the match instead of after.
Everybody was nervous from the first day that we met up, and on the way down to the ground, on the coach, I think everybody was sort of pacing up and down the coach. So, but it was nice to see that, because I think everybody was itching sort of to get onto the field.
Pat Jennings is nervous too. He is long retired from league football. He lives from match to match thanks to his old club.
Peter Shreve rang me from Tottenham. He said, look, I've been reading the papers, I realise you need to take a couple of games. My reserve goalkeepers get injured. Would you consider playing a few games for us and you can train with Tottenham? So that to me at the time was the ideal preparation, or it was what I wanted to get me back in. So I said to Peter Shreve, well, I'll be back this week on the Monday. I said, I'll be back in London on Friday. I'll give you a ring on Friday. Peter Shreve said, well, I want you to play it tomorrow.
This is Sanson. Now Bracewell. Looking for Dixon. Hoddle. Plenty of men forward for England. Hoddle on the left foot. And Jennings. Now it's Wilkins for England. Looking for Hoddle. That's through for Dixon. An apology to Glenn Hoddle from Kerry Dixon. That brought Billy Bingham off his bench. Wilkins looking for Lineker, he could be there. Wilkins looking for Lineker, and McDonnell beat him to it. And it's going to fall for Lineker, and Jennings was there again. Stevens looking for Dixon. And how did Jennings keep it out? He's done it again.
I remember coming through then, talking to the glorified English press, then said you had that well rigged up. And I didn't believe I was talking to people who'd been reporting games for the last 20 years, you know. And they were actually serious, really serious. And I thought, well, just leave it. It's a waste of time.
Anyone who says that's a fix can come and see me, and I'll tell them it wasn't a fix, because we bloody earned that, and anyone who says different is a joke.
A certain section of the English crowd were shouting during the game, it's a fix, and they were shouting, cheating this. And when someone tries to tell you that you didn't deserve something and you didn't earn it, it hurts a lot. It hurts personally, it hurts your pride. And that's why I said those things afterward. The adrenaline was flowing. And if it hadn't been me that said it, would have been one of the other lads that said it.
We were gathered, as is our wont, in the bar afterwards. And I remember McDonnell, I hadn't really talked to him too much myself, and he turned and he says, Martin, how many caps do you have? I says, I think it's about 64, 65. He says, well, I'll soon be past that, he says. You know, I thought, excellent stuff, you know. It only took me about 12 years to do it, you know. I'll be past that, no problem.
A fitting occasion for Pat Jennings to say farewell to football. Or is it? Should he carry on? Pressure before the match becomes a quandary afterwards.
He knew that everything hinged, 2 years' work hinged on one night's performance. And I think he felt the pressure more than anyone. He didn't want to let the players down. He was frightened of letting the players down.
I think ideally it might have been the right time to go after the England result, because I felt that I had done all that I could. I'd got the lads through, or played my part in getting the lads through to Mexico. And it would have been a great place for me to go out with a clean sheet against England at Wembley. But we've looked at the situation so many times since. There was a lot of pressure on me to go from everybody concerned, supporters and that. And I think it would be a shame if I didn't go from my own point of view now. The fact that even if I don't play, it'll be nice to be involved right up to the end.
Underneath the sun in Mexico, the magic has begun in Mexico. Underneath the sun in Mexico. Underneath the sun in Mexico, the magic has begun in Mexico.
I think somebody upstairs had her name on Mexico.